It's really interesting that someone's always entering the garage right at 6 o'clock, so that you're just greeted by like a dungeon sound every time we start on Tuesday. Delightful. This is fun. This like very 70s business is all for you. So enjoy this like little Farrah Fawcett bonanza happening, because it's all for y'all. Okay. All this Gemini energy. My hair is ready for you. Mercury's in Gemini.
Like someday I'm gonna get on your level of awesome lookingness. Like every time I come on, it's just the most incredible. And
I just got here.
Like,
I just got here. There's so much room here. You're our.
Oh my god, it's so pretty.
Thanks. I feel very 70s Charlie's Angels right now. It's really it's really just happening. All my hair dreams. Mercury's in Gemini.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know about you, but I feel like
better.
Oh my god. Like, okay, it was necessary. Like, it was good to have Mercury in Taurus. It was good to just like ground for a bit and kind of like, hey, are you good? Like, we're good. Let's rest and let's like really like hash this out gradually to make sense of where we're at. And now it's like, okay, and let's go. Now
talk about
it. Yeah, I feel like I've storied 30 times today already. I'm just like, hey, this thought.
Yeah. Well, and everything's opening back up. Like all these major cities are all opening back up. So everybody's ready to talk to each other.
But that means we're approaching our next Mercury retrograde. Which
goodness, that's right.
We have our next Mercury retrograde. We also have Saturn, who's going to go retrograde a week before Mercury. And Mercury is going to be in Gemini through like most of June. So this is going to be
trining Saturn there. Trining with Saturn there. So I think that's super interesting that they're both going retrograde and Mercury is hanging out like that. I mean, I think that's like, I think there's going to be something with, you know, maybe the way we talk to each other, or maybe some thought ideas may really solidify themselves. If we've been seeing any like think tanks that have been like doing really great work, they may have a lot easier of a time. But I think a lot of people are going to just like really start building things from a mental point of, you know, perspective, not just, you know, when we see people coming out with more tangible things, right? Like selling tangible things. It's like, this might be where we start seeing more conferences, or we might start seeing like more people just communicating with each other and like building something on it.
Absolutely. And Mercury will also hit the North Node during its time
here,
and while ruling the North Node. So that's certainly going to be interesting. And another layer of that too, just to add to that, we are sort of having something come full circle in a sense, because last summer was when Venus retrograded in Gemini. And that was at the beginning of summer. And we were kind of like, what is the end of the school year? And like, what is summer now? And like, what are we about to do? And like, how are we hanging out and like relating Venus style at the beginning of this wild time? And so now here's Mercury coming through and retrograding in its own sign and sort of starting to piece together information, start to get the facts right on what, or start to consider, because we have retrograde. So starting to answer or ask all these questions about, so what are the logistics of everyone being outside? What are the, and already like facts are changing and being updated. It's like, now if you've been vaccinated, you can do whatever the fuck you want, pop off, like go maskless, like just go and like I feel like everything is sort of turning it's like, now we're saying this, update this now. And so it's gonna be just a lot of like okay, let's try it. No, what?
You know, and like now we can sit back at bars again. So like the, you know, that kind of conversation is going to start happening. You know, I think like a lot of like, I feel like we're, you know, bringing up the Venus retrograde in Gemini. I feel like it's going to be like a lot of processing of relationships and like just processing of like, right. Like of going like, wow, I learned a lot in these, you know, this past year about what I need in a relationship, what my relationship may need that I didn't give it before. You know, I just think that there's just been a lot of consideration about relationships because we've been torn apart from each other and, you know, put on top of each other. Yes. So I feel like this is the time where, you know, this is where everybody was, this is the thing I feel like everybody was waiting for, like where you could laugh about it now kind of thing. Like, it's like, okay, it wasn't funny then. It wasn't funny then. Absolutely. It's a little funny now.
Well, and like even sort of coming to the terms of what didn't work. In the thick of it, you're sort of like, this is not working.
Yeah.
You need to like take the space, or this friendship is shifting, or this romantic relationship is ending. Like something is happening and we just feel the consequences of the shift that's occurring. And now reaching this point of, okay, so let's make sense of all of these things that just happened. Like, what is it that didn't work? What wasn't happening? And yes, absolutely. Then coming out into this new place of, okay, we're back outside and like, we're going to start dating again. Like
everyone's going to be hot to everyone like now. Everyone is going to be like, so listen, I'm ready.
I mean, I'm not surprised that Venus is going to retrograde in Capricorn this
year.
And like, I feel like really show us where our romantic needs have evolved in terms of what sort of commitments we're looking for, you know?
Yeah.
Now that we've gone through this big,
Yeah, I feel like it's also interesting because Mercury will be retrograding, that Venus and Mercury will be hanging out with each other too in Gemini. And I think you just said something that like reminded me how air signs, I mean, Venus is a benefic, so it's not like a horrible experience probably anywhere except, you know, adding other planets to it, right? So it's already kind of just like, everyone calm, let's just like, you know, relate. Just gonna do it like this though, you know? And like, so with Gemini though, it's not in a water sign, it's not in a naturally emotional fantasy idealism sign, it's in a talk sign. Yes. And so you have to live up to my needs communicatively. You need to be able to banter with me, or you need to be able to speak in a way that I understand you. And it's not psychic, it's not emotional, it's not, you know, fire, passion, desire. It's like kind of the hardest thing for, I think, Venus to be in that kind of way if you're not good at it. And it's like you can keep up almost anything else in some kind of capacity. You know, you can like try to find, you know, the way to make yourself more ideal, or to, you know, push the fire or whatever, but to keep a conversation going is a little bit more difficult, I feel, in the terms of like keeping it sexy and fun and all these things, you know? So I just thought that was interesting. They're also be commingling together in Gemini, which is like just an extra dose of, you better be able to talk to me.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking?
Like, there's so much to talk about, and like, if you don't have a lot to talk about at this point, after everything we've all been through,
who are you?
I guess go.
What are your political stances? Who are you voting for in June? What are you? Do you read science and arts? What do you do?
Right. Like, what's the deal here? What's going on?
What do you do?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm interested in what you said about Venus and Gemini not being comfortable unless you're good at it, and like feeling drawn to a Venus and Virgo would know, for real. And that's an interesting, like, I want to dig into that more, because I think you may be right. For those who have Venus in an air sign, or let's say, I mean, Venus in not Libra in air. So Gemini and Aquarius, Venus is very interested in options. I'm not necessarily here for like just you. Like, I want to see who's the most fun, who's the funniest, who's gonna show me the best time, and also like who's got the best ideas, honestly. Like, I need to know, as you were saying, I need to know that we're gonna be able to talk and like be able to match each other, not necessarily agree on the same things, but be able to banter about it. Like, I want to debate about it. That's how I like figuring out how I feel about things. And for those with Venus in one of those air signs, it's definitely a more natural placement of like, can you keep up? For the rest of us, it can certainly be a little bit like, what am I supposed to do in here? Like,
how do I turn this on? Are you even attracted to me? Is it just, you just want to talk about something? You know what I mean? Like, don't
take it seriously, just have fun. Like, okay.
What do you
so
mean?
we're
Interesting.
We're playing. We're playing.
You want to be
Capricorn
friends,
Venus is like
friends and something and some. You want more? Oh, you kissed me. You didn't. Oh, interesting.
And then we just
yeah,
we're changing it every moment. Yeah, absolutely. And your Venus
I
and
love
Virgo
you
is
said
like,
don't take it seriously. Everybody this summer, if you've been single, you probably are like, you know what? I'm going to stay single until the fall because I just need to go out and have some fun. Like I can't take things serious right now.
I've been inside this whole time. I need to
exactly
outside is like. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely, for real. So it may be very interesting to have all of this. I mean, we're gonna have an overhaul of Gemini energy for the next several weeks. Not to mention, Mercury is also ruling the Gemini new moon eclipse that we're gonna have while retrograde.
Yes.
So there's so many changes.
They're back.
And so again, a Venus in Gemini or Aquarius native may feel very electrified by the options that are arising in all of this change that's happening, and may really enjoy all of the sort of rapid pivots and all of this sort of fast-paced, frequently updating status, but the rest of us may feel a little bit like, wow, I'm on like an information overload, or like I can't keep up. For those with Chiron and Gemini, I feel like it's like, oh god, okay.
We have to talk. I want to talk about trauma. No, we're going to talk about spirituality. No, the movie we saw yesterday. That's good. Do that. I mean, it's just so bad. It's just so
it's a lot. It's gonna be a lot. I mean, but we have so much to figure out, and of course, like the North Node being here does add that layer of we're making a big push towards something pulling us forward. Especially since in the midst of all of this too, we'll have the second Saturn Uranus square. So Gemini lit up. Mercury retrograde and ruling the Gemini new moon eclipse. The second Saturn Uranus square happening June 14th. This is an electric year of changes. We've already acknowledged that every day the rest of the year has a planet in retrograde. So we're just sort of, this month adds like 3 more. So there are a lot of rapid changes happening. Many of us with more earth or water may feel really shaken up by all of this. Also, too, Mercury's going to square Neptune, so that's going to be just add another retrograde-ish layer of what is this fog and what's behind it.
Why is all of this happening this way?
I can see it clearly.
Yeah, especially if you have Virgo and Sagittarius. I'm like right there with you guys. Like it's like some of this stuff, especially hitting my Venus. I'm like, what is this?
Sure, absolutely.
Why am I experiencing this?
Doing over there? Like what
are you doing? What
is that?
I don't know what I'm learning in any way yet.
No. And then all my Pisces just like, what's happening?
It's so true. It's so true.
I'm just like, what is so urgent? And there's just
it's so true.
So much bubbling and happening, and so much confusion, and so many questions.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's ultimately, especially for those of us who are less comfortable with this influx of Gemini energy, or who have a Chiron in Gemini, where it's like, this has always been sort of a struggle for me. So, totally. Yeah. I mean, I imagine, are you feeling anything yet so far? That's definitely a very active space. You're going to have Mercury retrograde over your moon. And in an angular house, which means you may have a lot of like professional changes or rewrites or rewirings, just sort of like figuring out this is how I've been doing things thus far, what's working, what's not, what do I want to do more of. That's a nice place to kind of have a Mercury retrograde because it is angular and you're like, oh, I can make these changes. I'm going to go. It's not like mine's going to be in my 6th house and that's going to be my body.
11.
Just left my job last week. There you go. Oh yeah, and absolutely. So that's dope. Like that's definitely big. And now it's going to be working out the details of what comes next. Whether you have something in line or are figuring it out as you go, there's definitely going to be a lot to work out. Like getting into a new routine. Gemini is very routine based, or Mercury at least is very routine based. and Gemini sort of like, what is the information of the
Yeah.
day? So yeah, that's a lot of updates. That's awesome. Congrats. That's going to be fun. And lots of like, what is going on? Moon and ninth in Gemini. Okay, so I wonder if you're like, I'm going to go back to school, or like, I'm going to consider what sort, like, I'm having religious questions, or like, what is, I don't know, what sort of groups do I identify with, or what's my, I mean, the
what do I want to learn in general, right?
Yeah, what do I want to learn?
Like, what do I want to learn? Like, even if it's on the simplest level, it means something, you know?
Totally. And also, like, who are my mentors? The ninth house is a mentor space, like some sort of formalization of knowledge. It also feels, the ninth house feels very social media to me too. Just this like sort of
the broadcasting, absolutely. Yeah. What do I want to communicate to a broader community? You know,
am I publishing?
I have too many religious groups.
That's real. So maybe that's the question. Maybe that's on the docket. Like,
that's
what
amazing.
My time, or like, what's the most important to me?
Let's since it's Mercury, it'll be Mercury retrograde in Gemini. Do you want to go through what it would feel like square, conjunct, opposition, trine, sextile?
Yes, if I understand what you're saying, then yes.
So like for everybody, so let's say since Mercury retrograde in Gemini, how would it affect Sagittarius as an opposition?
Oh, sure.
Right? So if you have anything in Sagittarius.
I'm getting stressed out by this talk. Pisces ascendant. Yeah. Oh, North.
See, it's gonna be squaring you. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you're not okay just with your like Uranus on your moon alone. Like that's just a lot. Like you're just like, who am I anymore? I don't even know.
Oh God, yeah.
So all right, if we're talking about, I think what you're saying is just sort of going through the different like modalities maybe since
like, well, so we can say like if you have anything in Sagittarius, you know, this is not an opposition for you, so this can bring up a relationship that maybe this is where I'd say you'd have the ex come back, or you'd have somebody from your life at some point maybe come back, just because it's also a relationship, right? And so even if they don't come back in like a physical way, they may show up on a timeline, or they may show something may bring up a memory for you that kind of makes you go back to what we were talking about, me with that Venus Gemini retrograde of like, what did I learn? What did I, like how have I grown from this relationship, or something might change about a relationship if there's anything in Sagittarius.
Especially with this eclipse happening in, we have the eclipse happening in Sagittarius. So with the eclipse, we're in eclipse season now.
Huge endings for you guys. Yeah.
There's definitely some energy from the past that needs to be like reconciled and released, and some story that's like, okay, goodbye. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Neptune's a big one. Like where oh my God. That thing you sent me about Neptune the other day really kicked my ass, Vanessa. The one that was like, where you feel guilt. I was like, oh my God.
I know. I totally thought about you.
That really upset me. I was like, that's exactly what I feel.
That could be for this Neptune kind of experiences. Like where have you let yourself go too much? Where have you idealized martyring yourself or losing yourself?
Yes.
And where now can you say my ideal is also something that should be acceptable. The things that I want can also live within the things that I want for other people.
Absolutely.
So maybe there's like kind of like
with this Neptune on the midheaven, which is very much connected to like stories of what I put into the world and like what my legacy is. And so like releasing where your legacy has been bound to martyrdom, or like where you have had to sacrifice in order to like get perhaps the praise or the reputation that you deserve, and like how do you separate that element from that other work that you're doing, or how do you turn it into intentionally injecting compassion into your work and separating, and that is the higher Neptune value rather than the lower, as you said, martyrdom or like sacrifice.
Oh my God, so many Neptune Sag people. Yes, you're all experiencing this. Yeah, like sort of the letting go. Yeah, exactly. The letting go of what you maybe idealized, because we all kind of idealize ourselves to be something at some point. We have something, even if it's it doesn't have to be vocational, it could be anything, right? And I think maybe this is like with the eclipses, like you're saying, this is like not, it's kind of closing a door, but maybe closing a door on a mindset, closing like with the Mercury retrograde, closing the door on, you know, just saying, I'm ready to switch. I'm ready to switch mindsets. You know, I'm ready to look at this differently, have a different perspective on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then we have the squares. If you have Virgo or Pisces, both of us are experiencing that right now.
Yeah, totally. Early 80s babies. Absolutely.
Yes.
And probably some late 70s babies too. Those squares, absolutely. Well, for Pisces, that square is pretty personal since Mercury is going to literally square Neptune, which is hanging out in Pisces. Release, absolutely, Stacey. That's dope. That's very real, for real. So for Pisces, it's definitely, and I mean, even like Stacey being a Pisces rising too, so this is going to feel like real too.
This is going to be very real. These eclipses too, yeah.
But yeah, that Pisces square, I mean, with Neptune and Pisces already, there's such this sort of general transformation of kind of what you were just saying, that sense of martyrdom, which is super real for Pisces energy. So you have Pisces energy, you're already in this transition of stepping out of martyrdom or a loss of self in how you interact with your world and stepping more into a sense of purpose and how you bring people together. So I think for Pisces, there's already been so much rerouting this year, and there's just going to be more of it. It's just more of this new information. I think it's important for Pisces because it takes more effort to get through that water. You know, it's like Pisces is such a
I don't know.
Emotion and uncertainty. Am I being informed by nostalgia? Am I holding on to guilt that's bigger than me? I don't know. So
exactly. It's like, I don't know, but I feel it, and I feel it big time.
I feel it, and it's happening, and I'm being pushed in some new way, and it's really uncomfortable, and like I feel safe being a little Pisces, and now I have to figure out how to be true to myself. You know,
such deep and uncertain waters.
Absolutely.
That's really good.
It's like yeah, I mean, really obviously I'm biased being such a Pisces, but it's like, you can't help but just be like, you just want so much good for the world. Like, you can't help it. It's not your fault. Like, it's beautiful. Like, it's hard because the world is so not here for that. But
I had my taste of it with my Pisces moon this solar return. So it's like, whoa, this is a whole lot of feelings.
Especially conjunct Neptune. You're just like, I'm not alone in here.
I literally don't know. I literally don't know. Like on any level, don't know. But I feel it like a lot. But it's so funny.
It's here now. It feels like it's everywhere.
Yeah. And with Virgo,
tell us about Virgo.
I think that Neptune has been, you know, kind of fucking Virgo up a little bit with the being in Pisces and being square to it for so long. Because being opposing to it for so long. And it's just like, it just makes you feel like Virgo wants to detail, wants to do something. It's like, let me put this together. I don't want it. But when you have Neptune opposing it, it's like, what did you want to do? And Virgo's
like, you just did 5 things, and I you just start making blocks towards nothing, and it's just like, okay, well, that didn't work, and Neptune's like, oh, what didn't work? And you're like, wait, I just did a whole thing. I did something. Neptune's like, did you do something, or was that just a black hole that just sucked away your time? That's how feels like. So then you put Gemini in here, and Virgo's like, listen, I don't really want to talk, I just want to put something together. And like Mercury's like, but we're gonna have to talk it out. We're gonna have to talk out what you want to put together. It's like, but that's gonna waste even more of my time because I see it in my mind. And Gemini's like, but you can't translate it, so you have to talk it out. Absolutely.
And like, so I think that's what this Mercury retrograde's gonna do for Virgo, since it's been getting hit from Pisces for so long that it's like, okay, I'm just going to have to get to a point where I can verbalize this, and then maybe I'll be able to embrace what it is on a different level, so that maybe I can back up and reimagine the details, right? Because maybe the details, you're not able to like put them together in a way that makes sense and maybe you need to say it out loud to make it make sense. You know what I mean? Where are you overworking? Where are you, especially for Virgo, where are you overworking? Where are you overanalyzing? Where are you overextending? Where are you keeping yourself from moving forward? We were talking about this yesterday with Sagittarius.
Yeah.
And well, with the North and South nodes, with Sagittarius South node, where are you not allowing yourself to experience? You're reading my own. Where are you not allowing yourself to experience the reality of the back and forth with Sagittarius, or putting yourself into the position so that you can even see if it works or not? Because Virgo just won't let it go anywhere until it's like perfect, but you won't know what you're doing or what you're saying until you actually put it into practice. So I think Gemini retrograde is going, okay, all right, but before we can put it into practice, we have to write the script.
Oh yeah.
And what are you going to say?
Like double time for Mercury. It's just like ruling both of those signs and having to
exactly
both sides of the coordinating, and like literally jumping from like chair to chair and being like, okay, so it's like a TikTok. It's literally just a TikTok of like Mercury
so much
just talking to itself. Okay, so what are we gonna do?
Yes, the double one.
So we're gonna.
God. It's just like, but
oh god. Which honestly is Mercury's strength, but retrograde and jumping back and forth between its own signs and squaring itself just feels like a lot. It feels like a lot of things. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Pisces, Jupiter is about to enter Pisces, so at least Jupiter gets to kind of be like, hey, you know, it's cool.
Guys,
like, I got space for all this. This is fine.
Let me bless the waters.
It's gonna be okay.
Bless.
Absolutely. And it's like, at least it's like, oh, I can accept this lesson. I understand that it's connected to the bigger picture. And I'm willing to go there because now I see it all. And then in Virgo, Mercury's just over there just like, like sweating.
As it opposes all of Virgo. And it's like, so you're telling me it's safe, and Jupiter's like, I know it doesn't look like it. I know. I know. Like I'm on your side.
Exactly.
I'm on
at
your
least
side.
we get
This
Jupiter.
is bullshit.
Right. At least we get Jupiter.
This is bullshit. You're not supposed to be driving in fog, but I'm telling you, go this way. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go.
Do you promise? Do you promise? Oh my god.
Because Jupiter's like, I can't get rid of the fog, but I have a flashlight that allows me to stay in here until I go back into Aquarius. So
Jupiter's
take it
like,
now.
The fog is my home. I'm good. I am big enough to be fine. I'm gonna navigate this just fine.
And that's coming soon, guys. So if anybody with Virgo, that you might feel a beacon of light. You might feel like something. Yes, both of us. I feel you. I feel you. Like you might feel a sense of like, okay, I may not totally know what's about to happen, but I do have an intuition, or I feel like I'm being called, right, Jupiter, in this direction. So I have to have faith, which is Jupiter. Pisces, which is letting go. Right, and it's its own ruler.
Yes.
So it's doing this great thing of like, like calling us and being just like, hey, over here. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna like move through the forest.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. I just want to shout out that Amanda just quit this job and is about to meet Boo. Like, look at you go. Just
Yes.
Hitting a breaking point with my soul-sucking job. I need student loans to get canceled. It's like, absolutely. Oh my god.
Up Virgo rising. Yeah. So you're okay. So the ascendant is like the way that you see the world and how the world sees you. So it's your sense of comfort in that, and it's ruling Mercury. So it is thought. So you might be changing certain things, or things might be changing in your mind. Like you might be saying to yourself, like, I need to create this thing, but I also need to communicate this thing. So I have to meet, they both have to meet together. And not always do you have to do that. If you have if you're just, organizing, things, you don't have to talk back and forth to the things. And that's what Virgo usually does.
That's
it goes
true.
into to the things. Yeah.
I get to manipulate the thing and it's going to do what I want. It's fine.
Exactly.
I know what I'm doing and I got it. Yeah.
And Virgo also still being the first of the zodiac, first half of the zodiac, is still learning more, right? It hasn't passed over Libra. So it's still in that Gemini area of not being too deep. And so it can go towards the memorization. It can go towards the, you know, just the very strategic way of learning something. And so I think coming up against Gemini is almost like Virgo's having this problem of like feeling like a more immature version of itself is trying to intervene. Absolutely. And it's like, no, but if you can't speak it, like this, you won't be able, this specific circumstance, you're hitting a wall because there's something that you're unable to see. And it's because you've been looking at the thing, you've been looking at the memorization, you've been looking at the path, like you haven't been able to really see the whole of it, right? So Gemini's like, let's look at these details over here. Sagittarius South Node is also hitting, saying, I'm going to also give you like perspective. So I think Virgo's just like getting really shaken around in a way that it's not used to by a lot of different things, like all at once.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like what you were just saying highlighted for me that Gemini is talking the talk and Virgo is walking the walk. And Virgo in that sense is very much like, no, but like, I know that you have the plan, but like, I'm the one who does it. So like,
exactly. It's like,
back off. And it's having to, I love that you're making it sort of this like immature, mature, or this like phase 1, phase 2 Mercury.
Yeah.
Where it's just like phase 1 is sort of the more childlike stage and is where something initiates. And usually Virgo then is able to just take it from there and, you know, put the big kid gloves on and like go do it.
Yeah.
But Virgo does have to defer to Gemini. It's like listening to your little sibling and having to be like, oh God, I have to listen to, okay, so you're.
It's like, oh my God, he has a point. Damn,
you're the one who's telling me a new way to do something. And I love that. I mean, Virgo is being wrong. It's Earth. It's like, he wants to change the ground. Like, this is what I know and love. Like, this is what I trust. Why would you do that to me? So, like, I don't want to update the routine. And yet, here we are. I have no choice. This is what's happening, and I am listening to like this little imp like tell me what I'm supposed to be, tell me how to do my job, and I'm like, who are you?
And Virgo is a mutable sign, but it's an earth sign, so it has fixed qualities. That's why it doesn't like to admit when it's wrong. So it's like if you admit that something's wrong, then it's not growable, it's not sustainable, right?
Well, that means we have to go back.
Exactly. So when Gemini intervenes, it's that little, exactly. It's that sibling having actually a point. Yeah. And you're like,
oh, it's the worst. And you're just like, great. That's so.
We'll try it.
That's so, okay.
We'll try it.
I guess
but if you're wrong,
you're
going to hear it for the rest of your life. And then they're right. And it's like, God.
That makes sense. But if it doesn't work, we're trying my thing again. Like,
exactly.
And I love that. Yeah, Virgo is that liminal space. That is what is mutable and yet earth. Sorry. My phone. That is what's like mutable and yet earthbound about it. It is this, I'm honoring time and my like physical space by using it and working with it. And yet I cannot help but honor the passage of time. Time continues on, and things do change.
It is
no matter how much I do to continue this ongoing sustainable relationship. Like, it doesn't matter what my routines are. I'm going to age. My body's going to continue to develop and change and sag and you know, respond to its environment. And I'm gonna just be over here like, doesn't matter what, you know. I think that's what's so hard about Virgo in the 6th house and just things of that, like that specific energy is hard to reconcile, right?
Yes.
But that's also my Chiron's there, so I may always just have this problem. It's like, what is time?
I think all the mutables, though, I remember reading that the mutables do live in the present. It's just that they can get very scattered in the present. And that's the thing is if you're able to change, if you're able to adapt, then every moment is a moment that you can live very fully. But if you don't know which one to choose, or if they're everywhere and there's no way of really joining them together for yourself, it's really only by, you know, stimulation of the outside of like, okay, well, where am I going next, or where am I going? Because that's adapting, right? It's like always looking towards the outside and adjusting towards the outside. I think that's kind of like that issue of the scattered time is like every moment can be on time and you feel it somewhere in you. But it doesn't work because everything also affects you at once. I think that's like that's how it feels with Venus, and like it's just I can have so many relationships and have absolutely no time or any bounds of time with it, because I'm always in some sort of flux or some sort of adaptation to somebody or something. And it's never based off of like our history together or our future together. It's about what's happening right now with us. And even if it's all scattered or it doesn't like kind of join together. I don't know if that makes any sense, but.
No, that's interesting. I wonder if that's maybe a difference between like Virgo and Pisces, where Pisces for me is capable of being in the present, but that's not my default. My default is, I mean, that's scattered. That you said scattered feels very accurate. And that is probably what that mutable axis is about. Like, just there being so much stimulus and
you want to, where am I going
toward, right? Like, who's the right answer and what am I supposed to be adapting around? Like, what am I following? But especially with Pisces, it's literally like a water current. So it's kind of like whatever emotion is passing by is going to be where I am in time. So if there's something positive happening, then I'm going to sort of jump around different other positive experiences that I've had that connect to that. And if there's something scary happening, then I'm going to be jumping around and then thinking about what could be scary in the future. So it's interesting hearing these sort of different takes on time, but also what being present means. What does being present mean? What is the present moment? It is built upon everything that has come before it, and it is also very much focused on what we're going to do next. And so what is even the present moment?
Exactly. Like, there is, it's like all collapsed anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Time. So like, I wonder the mutable axis. I mean, scattered is a very good word for that axis because it is, again, like it is anticipating change and it's always responding. And so it is hard to, I mean, both the third house and the ninth house are the probably like what the worst of the good houses, and then like sixth and 12th are like the worst of the bad houses. So it's like there's just not easy energy.
No,
I don't think, and we've definitely gone into this before, but I think it's so easy. I think we joked about like how a lot of serial killers are on the mutable axis, and how easy it is to sort of go crazy when you're constantly at the mercy of your environment. And I think we talked about like cardinal, fix, and then mutable, and how cardinal starts something and then fix refines something, and then mutable is supposed to finish it or like help it evolve. And you're like, what do you want me to do with this? Like, catch me up. Like, where am I supposed to go with this? And so it's, again, that always just being so changeable and not knowing or having to develop a sense of, who am I changing for? Or like, what is good for me?
Orientation, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Rather than like, what am I getting sucked up into and like, caught up in and changing against my own will. Mutables are about how I'm getting there or what I went through. Interesting. Versus fixed is what is here. And then there's cardinal, when I'll get there, or am I there yet? That is a really fun way to think about that. Absolutely.
I like that.
I like that. That definitely suggests kind of what we're talking about, like a relationship to time and like what we feel about it, but also how we take action, how it is that we approach things, or like the different levels of environment to engage with. I feel like I'm always living in the present because I don't know how to do anything else. I mean,
that's hilarious.
That's fair, but aren't you an Aries rising? I feel like that may be being so fiery.
Always ready.
Just
I'm
like,
always on it. I'm always there.
Like,
what'd you say?
Like, let's do it. But yeah, okay. So mutable.
So then we have the trines.
Yes, trines. Okay, so let's come back to what you were saying about Saturn. Like Saturn in Aquarius. So if you've got Aquarius stuff, if you got Libra stuff.
I mean, I'm getting that grand trine.
Yeah, you have both.
A grand trine. So
soaking it up.
I mean, what I think is super interesting about trines.
Pisces rising.
Like, nice. What I think is super interesting about trines, and like, I think, being like so closely watching transits recently with you and like really like taking note of what happened and it actually, the more you see in your everyday world when you're looking at the charts, they usually have more to do with the squares and the oppositions and the conjunctions, because those are the ones that we really notice it. right? Because you're
sure,
just like,
that's
what
where
is
you probably get someone booking a reading. Like,
exactly
what's happening right now?
you want to know why this shit sucks. But it causes something to occur that gets your attention, right?
Yeah.
So, but I've also noticed trines do, you know, make it easy, like things easily come to you and things, you know, open themselves up. If it's within if it's like the social planets, like Saturn, it's felt more like just an energy shift, right? Because it is a subtle transit. You might not even really feel that transit, which kind of sucks because you really feel any other Saturn transit and you're like, give me the one that's trining my sun, like give me
the one
that
that can help me,
make that feel good, like what the, and it's literally just Saturn going, I'm not gonna fuck with you right now, like that's
right,
literally
like, I give you permission to do this.
I'm not gonna stab you
approve
as I want. I'm curious to see what this retrograde is going to do with it, because it is moving backwards, right? And it is like
both
trying
in retrograde,
right? Yeah, and so I'm curious if it's like, you know, with with Uranus square Saturn too, so you know that might bring up a little bit of
very interesting.
Yes, that and Venus hanging out in there conjunct at some point for a lot of us with that grand trine, you know.
Right.
So it's all kind of like I feel like we might have the best time at the bars. Like if anything, I feel like we might feel really in our element right now where we usually don't, because
so
everyone's talking. And everyone expects you, like people are straight up like, tell me your politics. Like they aren't playing around anymore. Like they're like, what was the last book you read? What was the last? I'll be like,
we're very serious.
Like the warmth of other suns. It's a love, power versus force. Let me get it. What?
Yes.
You know, I really feel like people want to know that you're a person who can think for themselves, that takes it seriously to think for yourself. Do you watch the news and what's the station? And if I say, oh no, I just listened to the radio and PR, I'm so hot to you right now. Like, so I feel like
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That brought up,
I feel like that's our summer. This is our thirsty summer, guys. We got this. This is it.
What is the company that just announced that you're not allowed to speak any politics in the office anymore?
It's over.
The employees quit. They're like, absolutely not.
You can speak. You can speak it over Jello shots now. It doesn't fucking matter.
We're not going back to this like caveman.
Yes.
I need to know exactly where you stand. I need to know immediately, and then I have the right to refuse service. Like,
exactly. Right. Do you know who you're voting for in June? Do you know?
That's very true. That's very true.
So I feel like that's our little. I feel like we get a break after that. Like especially Libras and Aries, like with the like the South Node North. I feel like this is like with Gemini also being there. And like everything's just like, okay, hot girl summer for the minds.
1000%. I mean, at the very least, I think our foundation for what we want to build our life around, or less seriously, what we want to allow into our world, like the bar is up. The bar is up.
I know.
Like,
just so happy.
We are not going back. There's nothing casual anymore. Even casual are not casual. Like everything has been elevated to.
Are you emotionally intelligent? Do you have a therapist? And if not, what are the stations or things that you listen to or books that you've read that have opened you up to understanding yourself more? Like people are not playing any longer. Like we're not having traumatized children anymore. Like we're just. So
I mean, that's what that's the goal. That's definitely the goal. And also, like, let's not traumatize each other anymore. I don't want to be in a relationship where I continue our cycles of trauma. I don't want to be in a dramatic relationship. I want things to be fucking chill. I want it to be cool. I want me to be cool. I want us to treat each other with respect. I want to be able to ask for what I want in a way that you are able to respond to in like a positive manner, or at least a neutral manner.
Yes.
I just want, you know what, this is what's up. I don't have time.
Yes.
Neptune and Pisces together has some negative sides to it. Oh, very
totally. Like what's like? I mean, let's normalize. Drama is not progress on all fronts. Yes.
Drama is not progress.
Like, let's normalize the fact that being attracted to someone can mean more than just being the ideal for the other person. It can be
an ideal at all.
Exactly. But
why?
But I think that's that Neptune Pisces that we've been dealing with, is the fact that it has been. Yeah. That has been our MO. We have looked to each other to fill each other. We have looked to each other to be, we have looked, even when we talk about race and we have looked to keep certain races down in order to keep our ideal up. Sure, that's absolutely what we do. And I think now we're like, oh, wait a second. There's so much out there to communicate about. Yeah. Why on earth do any of us keep trying to live up to some kind of ideal when why do we have to talk about ourselves in the first place? There is so much to talk about. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also there's so much for each of us to be doing regarding our own emotional well-being to even have time to have an ideal. Why would I I want to be my own ideal. I would like to I don't have time to expect you to be my ideal. You're doing some shit that is great and healthy for you. We are working through some trauma. I don't think any traumatized person can walk around having an ideal. That all of that ideal is built on trauma and unresolved issues. Like all of our ideals are so flawed because we're trying to be saved. We're out here trying to save somebody. We're trying to be saved. All of our ideals are troubled and flawed. So I vote no more ideals. I think that's a very interesting point though with Jupiter and Neptune. And luckily we won't really have to worry about that too much until next year, or as Jupiter fully enters Pisces. But that is a very interesting point. And there's absolutely some danger of some real deep dive idealism and some real cult shit, some
absolutely. And all of us,
South Node in Scorpio.
Right? Yes.
Girl.
Exactly.
Ooh, girl.
Exactly. Yes.
Ooh, girl.
Yes.
It's about to be a hot ass mess. Who is a cult leader?
Yes.
Something is happening.
Exactly. I think we were all getting tested from our Disney films. I think we were all getting tested from
one speck of the whole. You're right, absolutely.
Right?
Sprinkle on the Sunday for sure. Yes.
Yeah, we all started questioning what is an ideal, what is attractive, what is sexy. We started asking it so much that they started having to change their damn campaign. Yeah.
There are
advertising has had to change. Everything has had to change because of this.
Yeah, absolutely. There are best friends out there getting married right now who are just we're not in a romantic relationship. We sleep in a bed together and we basically lock down our shit for each other. You're gonna be my emergency contact. We're gonna share our finances. We're gonna be chill. We don't have a romantic or a sexual relationship. And we're just getting our shit together the way we know how. Okay, I got your back, you got my back. We're gonna date other people. It's gonna be great. But this is our family. We are
exactly
revolution. We're just
exactly
this is how we're doing it. There's no more fucking around. I'm not here to marry you because my dad said I had to, and it's socially acceptable. I'm not here to live that life. I'm not here to live a false life that doesn't speak to my actual person. So,
and we all stood up to our own codependent issues. I think that it's also really important now that we're all really addressing how much we've needed each other in order to deal with our own pain, and how not knowing how to have healthy relationships has pushed us to has pushed us to question, right? With Pisces is okay, we're letting go into an ideal, and if you let go into the ideal, that means you're going to find out if it's really real. So when you get into
so when you get
into the relationship and your ideal relationship, and it's past the marriage point, and then it all starts to disintegrate, you got your ideal, you got what was taught to you was the thing that was going to make you elevate or feel more included or feel, and that's not there are plenty of people who that ideal it did work out for. I mean, welcome to natal charts of certain trines, and that was not your lesson this lifetime. But there are a lot of us that are having to go up against what we maybe didn't have completely resolved yet, and now it's getting resolved because we're getting the actual reality of the situation. And it's just super important that we really take a look back and we say, you know what, I was codependent, or I was needing that person for these traumatic issues, right? Right. Like, I mean, and saying like it takes a warrior to get past those things. Not that it never happened to me. Not that I didn't wasn't an equal partner in that.
That's what I did at the time. I did my best.
Yeah.
I was codependent because I was still in my trauma. I was still suppressing.
And I wanted to fix them, and I wanted to love them through theirs, and I wanted to, and I thought that both of us would transcend this together. And
I just want good for each other.
I want to save you. I want to heal you. I want to fix you. I mean, like that's, and what that does is what that does is it creates a false idol, right? It creates somebody or something outside of yourself that is going to make you transcend. Like you're inducing some sort of evolution, when in actuality, the relationship itself is inducing an evolution, not the other person. If you can listen to your participation in the relationship, then you can evolve because it's your part in it that's the only part that you're going to transcend. You're not transcending their part, and they're not coming in and making it happen.
You are their ideals. They have to do that.
Right? And now we're at the last 10 degrees of Pisces. We finally swung into the last 20 degrees. And I think that's starting to really resolve. We're going, so it does, like, what's that Jim Carrey speech that he said about his dad? And his dad, you know, he wanted to be a great comedian. But he said that it wasn't going to make his family any money. And so he became an accountant instead. And so then he lost his job, and they had to live out of their car. And so Jim Carrey told himself, well, if you can fail at what you don't want to do, then why not go after what you do want to do, right? And exactly. And so I think a lot of us experienced that sort of moving into the ideal and finding out what it really meant, what it was for us, so that we can, I guess, create our own real imagined life, our real wants and desires that have nothing to do with what we've been told is going to make us feel whole. Absolutely. You know, it's like, you don't know what's going to make you feel whole until you go out and discover it.
It's sort of like I feel like so much of my life, at least, is a lot of trial and error and like process of elimination. And it's like, okay, so I expect no doing this and this sucks. Okay. So
our sun signs are great.
But I'm learning a lot of things about myself, which is that I don't like this, and it sucks. Okay, so now I'm gonna do this, and it also sucks. Okay, great, but I'm getting closer.
Yes.
Since I'm not doing those things anymore, at least I know where not to go back to, right? Especially we're talking about the South Node and like not backsliding into comfort zones. We only do that by trying new things and seeing what actually works, and then crossing them off the list when they inevitably suck, and then finally finding the right thing, you know? And
Pisces is just the dissolver too. Like it's not just Sagittarius where you're getting the wisdom. You're literally like, the whole story's over now. The story's over. It's not even, you ain't even like, something new. I've never had a croissant from France. Like, nah, bitch, it's over. This is ending.
That was the past. That's over.
It's like you have transcended it. Oh, you're already through pain. Did it hurt?
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But then that's also what we've been talking about too with Pisces, is that letting go feeling. And it's the hardest zodiac to explain. The 12th house is the hardest, along with the 8th and the 4th. But like the 12th is really hard to explain because it is that place inside of you that is purely surrender, and it has no power. It has no communicative ability. It has no rope. It has there's nothing you can do to soothe yourself except surrender. And so the descent down can feel scorpionic, which is right before Pisces, which is death.
Yeah.
But when it is let go, it's sort of like this beautiful silence. You know, when you guys know this, when something really is over inside of you, and you kind of hear things differently. If you hear birds sing a little bit more, you feel like, you just you feel the wind on your body a little bit more, and something the ghost has left your vicinity, or you had a soul retrieval. And that's what really makes you more whole, is that every time you lose something and it's an accepted loss, or it's, you're out in the ocean, you're like, you know what, I'm not going to know everything. I'm not going to know everything.
Damn,
and when you really can let that happen,
square Neptune moment.
Right?
I don't know.
That's
everything.
the present moment. Yeah, that's the present moment, is
It's
that the
okay.
only thing that's real is that what's right in front of me.
Yeah.
And when you're there and you can feel more of yourself with yourself, it's I think you're really embracing Pisces. You're really embracing the fact that it is what it is and life will be what it will be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what you were just saying made me think very much of the Hanged Man in tarot, and how you don't have you don't have an action. You're literally suspended, and something is like sort of falling off of you, like falling away. So when you were talking about hearing birds, like picking up on new things, I sort of saw it as like when you finally get to step down from the Hanged Man and looking at everything that's fallen away from you while you were in suspension, and just feeling that lightness, and like feeling sort of like, oh, and this is who I am, and all of that is like,
yes. Yeah. And
brush
it's just gone,
That's
you know? I mean,
absolutely.
It doesn't, I don't think it happens often because it is such an earth-shattering feeling beforehand, or it can feel like the world is sort of falling out from underneath you in a way. I think when you get to those really large moments when you feel like that. But when you do, it's so visceral, you know, like it's real. It's like, whoa, I have a piece of my mind back. I mean, I think we kind of enjoy that through astrology. If you call an astrologer and you want to know more about yourself and you feel like something clicks, I think that's a big moment like that. Lisa, my son. Oh God, yes. I can't
leave that for you. I'm excited for
or therapy or anything like that, when you get them where you're like, oh, I didn't look at it like that. I didn't see it like that. And like you said, the Hanged Man, and that's when you get off and you're just like, whoa, I can let that go. Like I don't need them to say anything to me. I realized what I needed to know from it. Yeah, and sometimes it's more about what you needed to know, like not about why it didn't work out or what it could have been. But there's something that you're not allowing yourself to see or not able to see because it's the Hanged Man, it's Neptune, it's Pisces, that you didn't consider.
That you couldn't. How could you have?
How could you have? You know? Because it's in an ocean.
Exactly. Right. And again, as you were describing, it's not something that you would know needed to even be released. It's not even
exactly.
Was
that's the 12th house, man. Oh my God.
Absolutely. And then you don't really know what it is until it's gone. And even then you can't necessarily describe it or define it. You just know that it's past. You've shed it. Absolutely. Yeah. And just feeling more your sense of self and your relationship to your universe shifting. And that to me was really like hearing the birds sing, or just like being connected to all of your senses in a deeper way. Because you had something clear out. And again, that's more of that process of elimination. Like, say that thing that you've been waiting to return to you, or that thing that you have felt is out of reach, hasn't just been out of reach this whole time because we've been doing these things the same way, or because we've been fixed in this mode, or because we've been martyring, you know, and having these stories in our way. And so what do you gain when you actually clear out all that stuff that isn't you? When you go through the process of elimination, you actually honor what isn't right, and you say, okay, I allow this to go away. And now all of a sudden this thing I really wanted, there's space for, or my attitude about what I'm capable of has shifted because I'm letting myself eliminate these things, knowing that they're just not right for me, rather than holding on to a story about how I couldn't do it or how I was supposed to do. You know, like there's so many forms of stories that get in the way. I was supposed to be able to do XYZ, or I was expected XYZ, or okay, but what is though? At the end and it's what actually is.
It's that axis of perfection too. Like you totally remind me of that Virgo Pisces, perfection axis. Like what we said, this is the true way, and Pisces was like, and I can idealize it too, and we can make it like all visually perfect, and then like Neptune comes in and it's like, okay, so we're gonna suck you down the fog hole, and you're gonna just go into the direction of all the things that you thought were gonna make you happy, or you were taught we're gonna make you happy, and you're gonna find out right now.
All the things that you thought. That's just like a memoir. All the things they thought.
Seriously.
That's the book I'm gonna write. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
so going back to that Mercury retrograde, I think this is that, and then the Venus retrograde of last year in Gemini. I think this is like what we've been saying is where have we grown in our ability to communicate our basic selves?
Yes.
You know, not. I mean, we're an intelligent bunch. We can communicate on large levels, you know. But I think this is, you just mentioned this, is to be able to communicate who you are, the things you like, the things that excite you, the things that you know, you're tinkering with or just studying up on, or what the other person's interested in, and kind of getting back to that more basic level connects us to our own minds and gives us that kind of sense of like, okay, so I'm a person. I'm not just, you know, this is where you get to enjoy being an individual rather than being in that whole. Right.
Yeah,
and that's that balance we need between the ego and the completion. Right. We need a sense of ourselves in this kind of minuscule, I mean, like in this tiny little fish tank that we have going on here. Cause like our worlds are not terribly big, regardless of how many people you can speak to. You physically can only reach out to a certain number of things. So,
you can only do so much in a day. You can only cover so much ground.
Yeah.
Like,
you still have to contend with time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That is so real. Ooh, we are finite. What a fun, that feels like the place. That feels like the place.
We are finite. Yeah.
Finite. All right. Well, we are enjoying Mercury newly in Gemini. Venus will join on Friday evening. Late for you. And then we have our new moon on Tuesday, which we'll talk about next week, which will also be led by Mercury, and Venus will be there. So it'll be a nice little party. So yeah, we'll talk about that.
This is going to be fascinating with the eclipses and this is gosh,
so crazy. And then on Monday is when Mercury meets the North Node. So right before overseeing the Taurus new moon, because of course Venus will be in Gemini and answering to Mercury. There's this North Node contact too. So we'll talk about it on Tuesday. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a very interesting time, y'all. All right. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your charts and your hearts. Oh, that's going to be our sign off. Thanks for sharing your charts and your hearts. Oh my God.
That is our sign off, guys. You were here. You heard it first. Heard it first.
Thanks for sharing your charts and your hearts, y'all. Oh my God. Woo.
The cheese is available.
Oh my God,
I love it.
So much cheese. All right. Love y'all. Have a great week. Enjoy this uptick in communication and conversation, and we'll see you.
Go air signs.
Yeah, totally. See you next week.